So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at volumes of pyramids and cones. We've already covered 12.4, which was the volume of prisms and cylinders. You're going to notice that we have a different formula that we're going to be looking at today, and it's right here. The volume of a pyramid or a cone is 1/3 big B little h. And if you remember from yesterday, we talked about what some of these things were. We said that the big B was the area of the base. We had mentioned that the h was the height of the figure. And what makes today a little bit different is the 1/3. Okay, that is what makes it different. And if you think about it, we're taking a pyramid which has a vertice high in the air and parts of it cut out, and the cone is the same thing. We've got the vertice in the air, and it's essentially part of a cylinder is what it is, right? So when we do these, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to list our formula. So volume equals 1/3 big B little h. Volume equals 1/3. I need to take a look at my base. Now, the base on this, you'll notice it is a pyramid. The base that we've done before with surface area, you'll notice, is a square. And so I'm going to come off to the side. I'm going to go, okay, big B is base times height. Big B equals, it's 12 times 12, or 12 squared. And my base is 144. Notice that I'm not putting any kind of a label on this because I'm not done yet. I'm just finding the area of the base. All right, now that I've done this, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put 144. And now I'm going to look at the height of this pyramid. Now you'll notice that last chapter we needed this height because we needed the height of the triangle of the side because we were finding surface area. We are not finding that now. What we're going to be using is the height of the entire figure. And you're going to notice that it goes from the vertice, it comes straight down and forms that 90-degree angle inside the figure. And so this is going to be 8. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our calculators, and you should all be doing this with me. I'm going to take 1/3 times 144 times 8, and I end up with 384. Now I'm going to put my label, which is inches cubed. Again, inches cubed because we're talking about volume. It's a three-dimensional figure. Okay. Now let's go on and take a look at this figure. Okay, I'm going to find the volume of this. Now it doesn't tell you, and it should, this side is also 24 meters. All right, it doesn't tell you that. It should tell you that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go volume equals big B, oops, 1/3. Forgot about that. Little h. Volume equals 1/3, and I need to find the area of the base. Okay, so again, I'm going to come down here. The base is base times height because it is a square. Big B is 24 times 24. And when I do that, I end up with 576. And again, I'm not going to put my label yet because I'm not done with my problem. All right, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go, this is 576. Right, and I need my height. Now, you'll notice I've got a problem because I don't have the height of the figure. What I have in this picture is I have the height of the side, something that we would use for surface area. So what I need to do is I need to find the height from the tippy top straight down to form a 90-degree angle. So we're going to use some of the math that we used when we were doing surface area, and we're going to look at this triangle right here. It takes like a cross section of my shape. And so I need to find this height right there, that purple line that goes from the tippy top straight down and forms that right angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to redraw that triangle. Okay, this was 13, this is h, this is my right angle, and if you remember from surface area, to find this measure right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 24, which is the side measure, and I'm going to divide it by 2. So I end up with 12. So that's that side measure. So now to find the height, I'm going to use that trusty tool, the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to go h squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. H squared plus 144 is 169. H squared gives me 25. And of course, I square root it to get rid of that 2. So h equals 5. So now that I have my height, I can come back into my formula and I can put my 5 here. And I'm going to take my calculator, 1/3 times 576 times 5, and that gives me 960 meters cubed. So you'll notice a lot of the things that we learned for surface area we're using again when we're looking at volume. Okay, now let's go ahead and move down to the next figure. It says to find the volume, and you'll notice that the base is a hexagon. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult than, say, the regular pyramid. So I'm going to go volume equals 1/3 big B little h. Same thing as we did before. But this time my base is going to be a little bit more complicated. My base is going to be 1/2 AP. We've got to find that apothem. And if you remember that, we took that hexagon and we split it into pieces like that. And if you remember, we had 360. We divided it by 6 to get 60. Okay? And I can go ahead and I can draw that triangle that we had. Here's that triangle, and the triangle's right here in that figure. Okay? So this whole angle right here is 60. And then we took that 60, we divided it by 2 to get 30. And again, I'm going to cut this. So now this angle is 30, and this is 60. Right? I know that my side length is 4. You can see it right here. And so if this whole thing is 4, I'm going to take 4, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I end up with getting 2. So this section right here is 2, and this is 2. Now again, you can use 30, 60, 90. You can use trig. You can use whichever you want. It doesn't really matter. I found that a lot of you really liked trig, and so let's go ahead and let's use trig to solve this. I'm going to take 30 then, and I'm going to take the 2, and this is my little a. Again, I'm trying to find my base. Area equals 1/2, and I'm trying to find the apothem of my base. So I've got 2 over the apothem. Notice that the 2 is opposite and the a is adjacent. So that would give me tangent. Right? So then I do my math. My next step then, I've got a tangent 30 equals 2. I got a equals 2 over tangent 30. My a equals I have 3.464. And again, I can cut it off on my piece of paper, but make sure when you actually do the formulas, you leave your number very big. All right, leave it as large as you possibly can. So this is 3.464. My perimeter, I'm going to take that 4 from the side, and you'll notice that there are 6 sides to this shape, or the base. So my perimeter is 4 times 6, which is 24. So my base, I go ahead and I do the math. I end up with 41.5692 in that ballpark, okay? And now what I'm going to do is, now that I have that, I'm going to come back up to my volume formula and I'm going to plug that in. So that's 41.5692. And then the height of the figure, you're going to notice, is 10. Again, it goes from the tippy top of this figure right here, and it drops straight down in the figure, and that would be 10. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab that number, and I'm going to make that my height. So my volume then is, and again, I kept that number really big in my calculator from before, I end up with 138.56, and it's feet cubed. Now, when you do an assignment or when you do a test, I will tell you round to the nearest tenth, round to the nearest hundredth. I know that's not in the directions, but it will be very clear when you do your assignment. So again, on this problem, you go ahead and you grab your formula, which is V equals 1/3 BH, which we had right here. Okay, so I'm finding that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start following my formula. I'm going to come through and go, oh, I need the area of my base. Okay, I need to take a look at my base a little closer. Notice that my base is 1/2 AP, so I had to do some work similar to surface area. Found out what the area of my base is, I plugged that in, and then the height of the figure is 10. Okay, and again, you can use trig when you do this. You can use 30, 60, 90 formulas. It doesn't really matter. Either one works. Just make sure you leave your name or your numbers fairly big. Okay, one note, all these formulas work if your pyramid is a right pyramid, meaning straight up and down, or it's oblique. And remember, oblique means that they're tilted a little bit. But you should get the same formula, same process. Okay, let's take a look at the volume of a cone. We haven't looked at that yet. Again, volume equals 1/3 big B little h. Okay, so I'm going to go down. Volume equals 1/3. I don't know the area of the base. So I'm going to come off and I'm going to go, okay, big B is, what's my base? Well, my base is a circle. So I'm going to go pi r squared. Okay, I'm going to leave it in terms of pi. My radius, well, notice that the diameter is 10, so I'm going to find my radius. I'm going to take 10, I'm going to divide it by 2. So I end up with 5. Okay, so this is 5 squared. Big B then is 25 pi. Notice how I'm using parentheses too. You don't want to do 1/3 and the 25 right next to it. You should put some kind of parenthesis in there. Okay. Now I'm not done yet. I've got to find the height of my formula, and you're going to notice that I'm running into a little bit of a problem because remember, this was that slant height. And I don't need that now. I need my actual height, which is this. So if you remember back from surface area, what we did was we formed a right angle right here, and it became a triangle. So we're working with this little triangle right here. Okay, and I know that this little section here is 5. I already found the radius. So what I'm going to do is grab that lovely Pythagorean theorem again. I'm going to go h squared plus 5 squared gives me 13 squared. H squared plus 25 gives me 169. H squared is 144. Square root it. H ends up giving me 12. So now I found the height, and I can come down and I can put 12 in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to use the pi key on this. So 1/3 times 25 times pi times 12. And I end up with the volume being 314.16. And it would be feet cubed. Again, I'm using volume. Notice that my 3 in the label is very small. It's like an exponent. So make sure that you make it small and to the up right hand corner. Okay. So that is the volume of a cone. You'll notice it's a right cone. And the reason being is it's nice straight up and down and it's tall. You're going to notice that this green one here, this is not a right cone. This is an oblique. We actually had this on one of your tests or quizzes the last chapter. Okay, we're going to handle it the same way. So volume equals 1/3 big B little h. Volume gives me 1/3. Okay, I need to find the area of my base. So I'm going to come down here and go, okay, big B equals, what is my base? It's a circle. So I'm going to grab the formula, pi r squared. Big B equals pi. Okay, do I know my radius? No, I don't. I do know the diameter is 20. So if I want to find my radius, I'm going to take r equals 20 divided by 2. So my radius is 10. So it's 10 squared. Area of my base is 100 pi. And again, I'm leaving it as pi in my formula just because I think it's a little bit easier to maneuver. Now let's take a look at the height. You're going to notice that the height on this was given. I'm taking the tippy top of this and I'm going to bring it straight down and it forms that right angle. So 22, that actually is the height of my cone. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug that in. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1/3 times 100 times, I'm going to use the pi key, and 22, I get 2,303 points, I'm going to go 83, and it's going to be meters cubed. Notice how nice and neat my work is. Notice that I'm grabbing my formula. Everything should have 3 lines of work. I should have a formula, I should have numbers plugged in, and I should have an answer. At least 3 lines of work for each formula used. So you're going to notice that I've got one formula here, 3 lines of work. I've got a formula here, 3 lines of work. So every time you have a formula, you should have 3 lines of work. It's just a really good habit to get into. All right, let's go ahead now to the last figure. Again, this is a cone. So I'm going to go volume equals 1/3 big B little h. Volume equals 1/3. Do not know the area of the base. Sometimes they do give it to you, however. So my big B is, again, it's a circle, pi r squared. Big B equals, I'm going to leave my pi. Do I know my radius? No, I do not. They gave me the diameter. So the radius is 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So it's 3 squared. Big B equals 9 pi. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that information and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go 9 pi. Notice that I put parentheses in here. Do not just put the 1/3 next to the 9. And then my height, you're going to notice that we got more numbers. Okay, we've got this 13 here. That's kind of like the slant height that we used for surface area. And we got this 10. The 10 right there, this is my height. That is the height of the cone because it goes again from the tippy top of the figure. It goes straight down and forms that 90-degree angle. And that's what we need for height. So this ends up being 10. So my volume then, grab my calculator. I end up with 94.25, and that would be inches cubed. And notice again, it has 3 lines of work. Formula, plug numbers in, and I have my answer, and you circle the answer. Okay? So that is it for this section. Again, we found the volume of pyramids and cones. The formulas are the same for all of them. They kind of show the same amount of work that we did yesterday. It's just rather than big B, little h, we've got 1/3. If you have any questions, just make sure that you email me and let me know if there's anything I can do to help.